Great. So let's go into our system. We closed everything, so we are now focused on not everything, most of the things. There's so many things there. So what we're doing today, we're getting into data analytics, and we'll be looking at how we read data from different sources, how we get familiar with the data in terms of looking at the structure of the data, doing some data cleaning, also summarizing and plotting and graphs and things like that. So you should be feeling more excited. So let's go into our page, and this is our learnho.com. I promised I'll make some changes, but I was not able to do it because of the time. Anyway, we'll do it next time. So today we are in module 4, which should be working with pandas. Sorry, Joseph and team. Maybe I need to completely close Microsoft Teams. Okay, so let's go into our table of content. Let's look at what we're going to do today. So today we'll do a number of things. One, we'll learn how we read and write to files. This is the first part of our session today, knowing how we can deal with files. And we're doing this because in the IBM Badges certificate, you need to know how to do this. So it's a requirement. And then we will go into the more advanced one, which the pandas. To open files for reading or writing or extending the content of a file, there is a built-in command in Python. Means we don't need any external library. Okay, that command called open, or so you can use open. So if you want to open any file, you come with a variable, you give it a name, F in this case, and then you say open, and then you put a file name. Yeah, you put here new file, you can call new file.txt or any name you like. If you want the file to be open, you're creating this file for the first time. The file is not exist. You're going to create it and then add some data to it. Then you need to use W. W allows you to add content to a file. You create a file, a new one, and add content. Now, what happens if I already have a file there and I use this command? Have a file with the same name. It will delete the existing file and create a new one. But if you want to add to the file, you don't want to delete it, then instead of W, use A for apple. That means append. Append means add to the existing file and don't delete it, okay? The other one I'll close is this, okay? Once you create a file, then you can find number of things. One, you can find the name of the file by using F name. It'll give you what the name of that file. We will do those things in a minute. And then if you want to write a line to that file, you can use write. This is a function. We learned yesterday about functions and we created a function to the total. So, so this one will allow you to write something to the file. If you repeat it again, you write another one to the file. You repeat it again, you add another one to the file. When you finish with the file, you need to close it. Yeah, so you use command called close or function called close. So these are the three types of things you need to do, but there are more than that. So let's look at this example. So this example now, instead of writing, I'm reading. So I put R. So that means there is a file already exists, and I'm going to read the data from that file. So I use R. Now you need to know open because it can help you with many things. If you have multiple files in your folder, you want to read them one by one and then start merging them together or doing some process on them, then this will be very useful. Now this is for read, means you are going to read from the file. You cannot use the command or the function write. It will not work, so you need to use read. So read, if you say just read, it will read for you the whole content of that file. But there is another function called read line. It will read only one line for you, and that we will be using later. Once you finish reading the file, you can close it. So these are basic file work. Okay. Here is something called width. So width, if you have a list, like for example, I have a list here, has number of elements. One is Abu Dhabi University, the other one Al Ain Campus, a third one United Arab Emirates, for example. Yeah. So these are three elements. And I want to store it into a file as a 3 lines. What I can do, I can use something called width open, this is the file for write, and consider that file is F now. Consider it as F. Okay? Now what I will do, I'll go through the list. This one we know. For line and list means go through this list and every single one call it line. For line and list, now F write line. So write everyone. But I'm added one thing here more, plus and adding this one. This one make it a new line. This is very common in programming. This /n will, or \n will give you a new line to do. So this way, what it will happen, it will write all the files. Let's go and practice instead of just talking without practicing. Yeah. So let's get into our what is I have bring my so we'll go to Anaconda. You can do the same thing on IBM Cloud. Let's come here and let's create a new folder. We'll call it, where is that untitled folder? Here is it. So we'll rename it and we'll call it module 4, just for us to remember. Okay, that's done. So our module 4 is here, and we will create Python 3. And let's start now practicing what we learn. So let's come with F or file. I'll call it file this time. Equal, open, and open this one here. And say my profile. I'll call it my profile and txt. And I'm going to open it for write. So I'm going to write into the file. After I write that file, I want to say file, and I will write inside that file a line called name Hamad, for example. Okay, and just run this code. Now what happened? The file has been created. I can now close it if I want. Close and closed. Now where is that file? If I go to my and I go in the folder, I'll find it here. This is the file. It's being created. If I open it, I'll find it's a file that has a name Hamad. That's it. There's nothing in that file. So the file is created in the same folder where I have my code. I can select another folder if I want as well. Anyway, so this file has been created. Now, once I close the file, if I try and say file, write, okay, and add to it something else, what do you think will happen? I'll get an error saying input output operation on closed file. The file is closed. You cannot do this operation on that file. Yeah. But if I run this one again and add to it file, write, and let me do one thing here, say university, okay, and I can say edu, for example. If I add /n, let me not do /n, let's do it this way, and also let's add file close on the same place. Now what we have done, we have this thing. If I run it now, the file is created. If I go back to the folder and click on the file, what you see all are in one line. Name, Hamad, and then after Hamad came University Edu. So it's all one line. I want it to be 2 lines, not 1 line. So what I can do, I can go back to the code here and add here /n. /n means at the end of this line, create a new line. So I run it now and come back to my file. I open it. I find now there are 2 lines. Yeah, as you can see, it became two lines. So /n will help you adding additional line. Now, we don't want to go every time to the folder. We want to open this file here. Yeah, let me delete this, let me delete this, and come here and let's create another one. We'll call it F this time. F, I can call it file, but I want to call it F. I want to show you that these variables, you can come with any variable you like. You're not restricted to the variables I'm using. I need to use exactly the same file name that I created or I wanted to read. And then this is the file name. And I'm opening it for read. So remember the R, yeah? Yeah. Now this can be done this way, but this other way we'll use with, but we'll do it this way first now. So F read, okay, that's it, okay, and then F close. What will happen now if we run this code? This close is take it in another line. Let's just put it here just to show you. F dot close. I'll put it there, yeah. And so let's come here and do this. You see, when I did this, it did read my text, all of it, but brought it as a one single line. How I can make it read it as different lines? Sorry. Let's close this one first. I can use another command called read line. Read line, read you line by line. So if I run it now, it gets me the first line. See? If I come down here and say read line, what do you think I'll get? I'll get the second line. If I go and say F read line, what I will get? Nothing, because lines are finished. So you have a command called readline, and that's can help you with this. Yeah. Now, the example we had, assume I have a list. Okay, I'll call it students. And the students, I have the name Ahmad, John, these are my friend, Kumar, Dilal, and so on. And who is Zaid? Okay, so these are a list of names. I want to write them to a file. I'm just giving you this one, but assume you have a list that has thousands of lines, and you want to write them to a line, okay, to a file. This is how you can do it. You can use with in this case. With means everything after this one will be using this. So with open, what the file we want to open? We want to open a file, call it students.txt. This is a new file we're going to create. So this has to be WR, yeah, as F. Okay, now we'll create a loop for SN students. This is what we learned before. This is how to read data of a list. If you have a big list and you want to read them one by one, use for, then you come with any variable you like and say n, and you use the name of the list. So this one will go through the files one by one. If I come here and say f.write, yeah, and then I'll add what s. Now it will write that file. Let's do this. It's done. If I come here and look at student is added, and what you can see in the student, they're all there, but they are one line because we didn't use what we call it /n. We will do it now. So if we now come here and say plus quotation \n, this is what it will do. It will create the file, but this file now will have line by line my students there. So the open file is a very simple thing. It's one of the Python built-in libraries that you already have it. You don't need to import anything. I'm keep saying import, but you haven't seen any import yet. We will do the import in few minutes. And it has many type of commands. So you have R, you have W, you have A. A allow you to add to the file. Let's try one here. And let's say F again, equal open. And we will use the same one here. Okay, same one here. Okay, but I'll put A instead of this one. And then after this, I'll say F, write, yeah, and I'll add here someone, his name is something like this, okay, and then run it. This say F close. Now what happened? The old file I have, student, being appended by additional line. And if I come and look at this student, you will find didn't delete it. The old thing became there, but it started adding a new line. But the A allow you to add new lines there instead of deleting. But if I by mistake put here W, everything was there will be deleted, and only this KKK whatever will be there. Yeah. So now you know A, W, and R related to files. Let's see what I have for you. I have some questions maybe for you. Get ready. on going to our, you know how to get here, yeah? Both people from Facebook, whatever, it's in the description, it's written how to access this course, this code uh, here. So I gave you the link, this one in the description. So if you come in through that, you'll find it there. But be in the course, click on this and get ready for some activities coming your way. Not that many today, but there are some. We'll create more. Okay, so let's move here into the methods. What methods we can use or functions we can use with files. These are the list of methods and functions that you can look at them. And we know close, we already used it. Detach, it will return the separated row stream. Now, when you read from a file, you read streams. And this will give you the stream from the buffer, which maybe you don't need to know this at the moment. What you need to know, the important thing is read, okay? You need to use readable. Readable, it will check, is that file readable or not readable? Because the operating system can make some control. The user or the manager of the computer can go and make this file not readable. So if you use this one, you get true or false. True means the file is readable. You say f dot readable, it gives you true or false. Read line, that's we spoke about it. Reading line by line. Read lines give you a list. This one I want to show you. Why? Because it's important. Okay, so we will look at delete this one and delete. I said delete. Okay, and this one make it read. Make this one read. And let's come here and say f read lines with S, yeah? And we'll say store it in M like this. Now, if I come here and say print M, I'll get a list, yeah? So read lines, read every line, but put every line in an element of a list. And this is very useful because once you get things in a list, you can do many things with them. You will notice when we go later and in the pandas and the other data science, the list very actively used there. So that you can read it and put it in a list, and then you can start manipulating it or testing it or doing some analysis on it, okay? So that's one where I am here. So read lines, seek change the position. You noticed when we were reading a file, that's what I wanted to know. When we're reading the file, I said read line, then it moved to read the first one. When I said read line, it moved to the second one. When I said read line, it found nothing. What if I wanted to go back to the beginning? I can use seek and put a number. Seek 0 will take me back to the beginning of the file, or seek 1 take me to the second line in the file, and so on. So seek is one way it takes you back into a position or into a line of your file. Again, seekable, that will check if it is seekable or not. Truncate is useful to resize the file to a specific size. Check, is it writable? Write one line, but write lines. If you have a list, you want to send the whole list. And instead of doing a loop with the thing we did, we can just use write lines and put the whole list. So the whole list will go there. And this is useful to do. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we have a quiz. And who is ready for the quiz? Oh, you are all ready. Very good. Okay. Let me see if you are ready. 1, 2, 3. Now, with open edu.txt R as a file for lines in lines if right lines. So this is assuming we have a list called. So what is the outcome of this? Is it going to be writing the content of the list to the files as one line, all of it, or as multiple lines, one after the other, or it will generate an error? We will find out now who is the one did well. First, the answers, people said B. There are few people said C, but those few people are the right one. This will generate an error. Why? Because I'm using R, which for read, and asking it to write. It will not write. It will not accept writing. The command write will not be accepted because the file was open for read, not for write. Yeah, and this is the trick here. So if it is R, write cannot be used. If it is W, read cannot be used. Yeah, okay. If it is A, you can do both on it together. So you can append it. So this is the answers, and these are the people who did that. Not that many, but this is the tricky questions. And especially you read lots of nice thing here, you get confused. But you look at it, it's R, it's not W, so right cannot be used. Okay, no problem. Let's see who is doing well. No name is doing well, and then Safia is second. Now, when you logged in, you didn't write your name because you're coming from Microsoft, I think. You ignored it. You get a window to add your name, but you did ignore it. Anyway, Safia is leading, and not that many people who were able to answer it on time. This is a tricky, but the small trick, just RW, just watch it. I put it this way because I want you to keep watching it and you never forget it in the future. Okay, let's have a look at the next thing. Now, this is the next thing. We will now look at something more advanced, not really reading those small files and stuff like that. We want to start doing some data analytics or data science. Now, there are steps in data analytics and data science. Some of it, people make it shorter and combine things together, and some people make it very detailed. But for sure, when you analyze anything in your life, you need to come with some questions. What are you really trying to answer? Assume I'm looking at a company selling certain product. Maybe my question, which area has more sales for product X? This is a question I have. I want to know because now I start maybe focusing on that area, or maybe focus on the areas that don't have to bring them similar to that area, or what are the areas that has the least sales in that area, if you look at it that way. If I'm analyzing, for example, student grade, looking at the question, which question most of students were not able to answer it, yeah? So I start looking at those, and then I look at the details. Why? Is it maybe was not related to the content that the student should do, or it maybe was vague, not clear the question, or whatever it is. So you can start looking at all those reasons. So these are simple questions you need to come with, and you ask, what will happen if this happen? Okay, and then you start looking at that. Once you do that, you need to have some priorities. You have maybe 20 questions. You need to focus on those questions you expect will create more impact. They will help you and help your company to answer the most important critical thing, or improve KPIs, or do things like that. So put a priority for those questions. You need to decide what you want to measure and how you want to measure it. You want to measure sales, you want to measure quantities, you want to measure whatever you want to measure, yeah? And then you start collecting data. Those data come in so many different formats, where they will come from, and you collect it. Some of it, maybe you have it from your database, and some of it, maybe you look at it from certain organization or government data that will help you. We'll be looking at some today, and you start collecting data. And again, also you need to find, maybe if it's a plan you're creating, you need to find a way how you design your data collections to make sure that you get the data that you need in place. Companies use so many things to collect data. Then you need to start now cleaning the data. And this collection, somewhere you'll find it's collecting data and then cleaning data. Cleaning data, basically you look at some missing data, that some maybe you have Excel sheet, but it doesn't have all the cells are completed, okay? Or maybe some of the data are with different abbreviation. One calling it XYZ and one calling it something else, but they are the same. So you start grouping them together and replacing all whatever with all to make sure that this data become consistent in your situation. And maybe you merge it with another data source you have. You have two data. You have a data about students, you have data about grade, and you have student about employers. I want to put them all together and create a meaningful of it. So that's start working on that one. Once you create a clean data that you trust, this data is really now the right data that I need, and I'm confident it's correct. Then what you do, you start doing some analysis of it. And again, analysis, you explore different things. As you said, you explore the cells, you group maybe data together, you summarize it, you do some different chart of that one, you apply certain algorithm to it, and until you come with meaning something that answer your questions. Your focus is answering those questions you need. And then you come with your interpretation. This is happened like this because of that. And usually that interpretation has to be done with the owner of that business, because he or she will understand better their business. So you do it in conjunctions with the two. So how we can do that? Let's look at a simple thing. Let's find some data first, okay? There are so many open data. Look at open data, yeah, data UAE, yeah. UAE published data. There is a place called Bayanat where government entities, they will publish their data here. If you come here and look at this one, you will find data about many things, which the idea behind it is the government in the UAE, they have to publish some open data to help investors look at this data. Someone wanted to start a company or sell a product, or want to create a school or a university. He or she can look at this open data and see the number of students, the areas that need, that has more school, more student, and populations, and income, and all the different things which available there. So he or she can come with a meaningful plan and start doing something. So this open data is very important, helping community and industry to look at many things. So this is the UAE, you can look at it. You will find so many types of data for education, for agriculture, for many things. And then you can start looking at data. Also, there is the US open data US. Here is the one, data.gov. We'll look at that one and assume this is again get huge data. Usually those data not really up to date, but the idea behind it to give you indication of what's happening there. It doesn't have to be up to date. It can be 1 year old or 2 years old, but still very useful for people. So if I want to look at now, we have COVID-19 is causing so many issues for us, and I hope it will go away. And I search for COVID, I will find so many data set. We call this our data set. Like you have an Excel file, you have access to a database, or you have images or zipped file, or so many different type of files available. These are become considered a data set. So if you look at it, you can see COVID, there's so many. There's one here about COVID-19 patient data. That's one. For sure, it will not give you the names of the people and things like that, because this is very confidential, but it tells you how many people are. You can read the description here of this one. Hospital data, staff data, and many type of data. Let's grab one of it. Now, these data are in different format. You can see this is a CSV, or we call it comma separated file, which is similar to Excel, but it's very raw data. And this data is available from, I think last updated was September 2021. September and August, 9 of August, because this is the American way of putting the date. And it has lots of data. If we look at this one, let's try just to download this one. I have no clue what it is, but I downloaded another one before. Yeah, it's the same one? No, I downloaded this one before, which called testing. If we look at this file, there are two files now I downloaded, one called COVID patients and one COVID testing. I will go with the COVID testing one because it's maybe better to deal with. Okay, in terms of, I don't want to look at, I'll look at both of it, no worries. Now, this is the file I have. Now, I wanted to start using it and do some my data manipulation. Now, if you go to your pandas, assume you are, let me close this one, and let me close this one and go back to here. So I am here now. I want to create a new Python. I can do, but let me upload the file first. I can click on upload here and find this one, testing, COVID testing, and we'll take it there and then say upload. So this file now will be uploaded. It's big file. I think it contains huge, this is the file, yeah? So this is the file that I'm looking at. I'll just copy the name. Now I'll come here and create a new Python. I will rename my Python into something COVID testing. This is testing of the people, how many people were negative, positive, and so on. Now I want to read that file. Now comes here the fun. Python has a library called pandas. And to connect to pandas, I need to say import. The I is lowercase, has to become green, yeah? Import pandas, this is how you write it, as PD. What does it mean? Say connect to pandas and use the PD as the name of that pandas. Anytime you want to do anything with pandas, say PD dot, BD dot, PD dot, and continue. So this will basically import pandas. It depends on your computer. Sometimes first time you run it, it takes a long time to connect to it, but not that really long. Now, what is pandas? Let's look at here. Python pandas. Okay. Let's look at data science Python pandas. Not this one. I don't want this W3 school. I don't want it. Okay, here is it. Yeah. So Pandas is a huge database or huge package that has so many objects, classes, interfaces, and things like that. It's not object you can create, but it's a really powerful one. And the idea behind it, it simplifies the process of data analytics. Without Pandas, the things we will do in one line, it will take us 100 lines to write to get there. And this is with only one line we can do that. And this is the idea behind it. It's a very powerful tool for data science and becoming very powerful, more and more, because they're getting support from industry, from researchers, from developers, and it's growing all the time. And you need to find more information. Maybe you can come to this page. Now, what we did now so far, we did connect to Pandas. I'll come to your questions after I do just small thing, and then we'll so you get you to know what is this Pandas instead of talking too much. So we'll call our data COFID, means the data that we're going to read from the file, we will store it in a variable called COFID, and then we can play with it. So COFID PD, we're going to use Pandas. Yeah, PD now is the representative of Pandas. PD read underscore CSV. What that means read a comma separated file. There is one called read Excel. There is one called read HTML. There is one called read JSON. So many of it. So to find all those commands, you just say dot and then tap. And you will see how many functions, methods this Pandas has. And each one of it will have its own large number of things that it can do. So the one we're using at the moment is read, comma, separated file. What is the file name? It has to go between quotation, and this is the file name. Do I need to say for read or for write? No, that's only what I need. If I do this, now the whole file being read and put into the memory of the server. So I want to know how long that file, how many records in that file. I can use len, our friend, COFID, yeah? Len is our friend, not COFID. So this line has 252,000 rows. So if you open it in Excel, your Excel will be having huge problem going through all those rows of data. This is 252,000. There are others with huge, more than that. And the reason people use comma separated file because the length of the file can be huge. Excel sometimes has a limitation on that. Okay. Now we know now how many records in the file, but how it looks like, what data we have there. There is a good command you can use. Now, you notice we're using COFID. COFID now represents the whole data. There's something called head. If I do the head, yeah, it will give me the first 5 rows of that data. Here is the data. So it has these 5 rows. The first row is collected date. This is the date when that record is collected. Now this is 5 of 252,000. Yeah, this is the first 5 of it. And this is the date collected. This is the date completed. This is the country. In the US country, it can be a state or an area in a state. That's a country. It's not a country the way we look at it in our situation. And then if ID, I have no clue what is if ID. I think this is a code for that country. And then this is the lab where that test was done, in which lab, the ASPL, okay, whatever it is. And then the region, this all from the same region, but there's so many other regions, you can look at it. And then the code of that region, and then the result of that test. This all are negative, thanks God. But down you'll find some people with some positive. We will look at how many negative, how many positive, what region has the highest, and things like that. Yeah. And then this one, I have no clue. So I selected health, which I am not good at all. I wish I went for something else, but this is interesting subject nowadays. Great, team. Now we know how to get the first 5. So how I can look at the last 5? This is one important step in your data science or data analytics. You need to explore your data. You need to get an idea about it. How many rows in it? What are the main columns? We know the columns now, names. We'll have a look at the first 5 and look at the last 5. Sometime the first 5, you need to remove some of it, and because if someone created a file with some empty lines there, you need to remove those empty lines first, and then you start with data. We'll look at that one. How I can look at the last 5 lines in your opinion? Head, then tail. Yes, you're right. COVID dot tail, and we do that. This will give me the last. If you look at this number, this we call it index. The index, if you just look at the index, it's different. It has no column name. Yeah, has no column name, and it's bold color as well. So the index is basically the index of the row. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Later we can change this index and make one of these here become the index. I want, for example, the lab to be the index. I can change that one and make it the index. But we'll look at that now. So the index here, this is 4 only. And you can see this index is big because this is the last files. And you can see here again, these are the data there. So now we know how to do head. We need to know how to do tail. What if I want to get not only 5, I need to top 10. I need the top 10, okay? I can say again, COVID dot head. This is one way we can do it, and put here 10. This will give me 10 now of that. Now, if I say just only COVID, will it show all the data? It doesn't show all the data. Yeah, why? Because if it shows the 252 lines, my computer will have a huge problem scrolling down and up. It will show me only 5 there, will give me some dots here saying that there are some files, some data in between, and these are the last files to do. But if I want to write it to a file, I think it will do that. Yeah, the idea behind it is to do this. Now we know the head and we know the tails. Let me see if you have some questions before I go into the next level of doing some additional things to get you to know. We'll look at the hands. If you want to raise your hand, now I will lower the hand of everyone. If you want, now raise your hand. The one who raised, you want to speak. Okay. Tina. Yes, Tina.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
So fine. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I hear you very clear.
Sir, I want to know, such type of file can be seen very easily in Excel also. Then why we use such Python software for such files to see the data?
Can you please repeat your questions again, if you don't mind?
Sir, such type of files can be seen in Excel also.
Yeah.
Then why we use Python to see such files? What's the difference in seeing the same file in Python and in Excel?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is very good questions. Let me give you the answer for that one. Now, Excel is a great tool, can do so many things, yeah? But Excel will work great when your data is manageable, means it's not huge really. When it gets too large, it becomes very difficult to deal with the data, and you will notice here how it's become easier to do that. The other thing here you can, because it's programming, you can apply more advanced things to your data, okay? One of the things you can apply machine learning. And machine learning means you take your data, you create an algorithm after you model all your data, you understand it, you create an algorithm and you pass the data to that one. And the algorithm start layering different behavior of your data, which very advanced technique to use. You cannot do it in Excel.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So the size one and the access to more sophisticated programming. Now I'm getting you here slowly into this. We're not getting into those very sophisticated things because we need to know the basics, which how you read file, how you summarize data, and you do like that. Just try to open this file, which 252 in Excel, and then you'll start feeling the challenge of moving into this file up and down and left and right. It becomes a little bit complicated. I hope that's give you some answers. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, Zakir. And by the way, this is a very common questions which you ask and makes sense. Zakir, could you please? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. It is getting interesting now, and thank you for that. Just a question. Now we have looked at the header of the data and tail of the data, head and tail.
Yeah.
First, top 5 and bottom 5. Now, if we need to see any specific one, for example, in your case, country unknown.
Yeah.
If I want to see in my data, how many of the records are with country unknown?
Very good.
Go be about that.
Yeah, we'll do all these things in the next one. We will do something called slicing the data. So we divide this data in smaller chunks. We'll be grouping, we'll be searching for the specific data. All those things, we will do it in the next step. Yeah. Good you ask this question, because these are the things you need to do. If you cannot do that, then how you can do some analysis? Yeah, good. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
The next one, I have Herbert.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
My question is a simple one.
Yeah.
Let's look at your commands.
Yeah.
Len and
Yeah.
tail.
Yeah.
When you see len, it returns a record of 252649.
Yeah.
Then tail will return 252648.
Yeah.
So what happens to the last record? It appears like one record is missing.
Very good. This is very good. But did you notice started from 0?
Okay,
Because
yes, I
from 0.
That's 0.
Yeah, if you count how many start, if you add 0 to it, the 0 is the one that you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Good. Yeah. Okay,
Thank
you have another question?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to Sai.
Hello.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was trying to follow your code. So that time, when I insert the name of the file, I got an error.
Yeah. Okay. There are a number of things you could have done wrong, yeah, in the file. First, you have to have the quotation. You make sure you have quotation.
I add that.
Yeah. And also you just write the file as it is. If there is a space in it, you write space exactly as it is. Maybe there is space.
Yeah.
You're using the same file, this file?
No, it's a different one.
Yeah, and maybe you did something in. That's one thing. The other thing, remember this when you write it right, yeah? Can you share screen? Just maybe that mistake will help others understand. I'll give you access to share screen and I will stop sharing. Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about the time because this will take a little bit more, but go ahead. Maybe you can extend the one more session.
Can you see now?
Yes, I can see your screen now.
So this is the file. This is the file which I have.
Yeah,
As you can see, can you see the folder here?
yeah, I can see the file is PDF. This is all right. Yeah, and it's saying, can you look at that file? Where is that file? Where did you put the file? Did you upload
Can
it?
you see the Can you see the file explorer?
No, I don't, because you just shared only the browser. You didn't share the whole desktop. So I don't see the other things you are saying. Yeah, you need to stop share and share the desktop if you want.
Oh, now can you see this?
No, yeah, this one I can see now. So this is the file. Where is the file? Did you move it did you upload it? Yeah, I can tell you what to do. Click on your code, if you don't mind. Go back to your code. Did you upload it?
Oh no.
Go to your code, if you don't mind. Is your code in the same folder? Yeah. Can you look at file? Let's see.
I have to upload the file here.
Yeah, you need to upload the file to the same location where you created the Python file. It has to go into the same location. You still go up, go up, go up, go up. Yeah, click on upload. Do you see the blue color one? It's not uploaded yet. Yes. Now click on upload, wait for it. Now if you go and run it again, it should work. Go to your code now and run it. If it is in the same folder, yeah, it's working. So the file cannot be in the download folder somewhere and you're trying to access it. You have to move it to the same location where your file is in. But this is good side because I'm sure others had a similar issue to this one. Thank you for bringing it. Okay, I can see there are others who want to speak. I'll go back to you, Ahmed. Ahmed Al-Hajj.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. Thank you so much for the course.
Allah.
I have two questions, actually. The first question is, can we connect the Python with a streaming source of data, for example, Google Analytics, for example, any other source that has data, and I can build a dashboard from multi sources of that data? This is the first one. The second question is, can I use visuals to represent my data using Python?
Yeah, we will do that later. We will do some visual. Yes, you can connect to live data. You need to use something called API, Application Program Interface. The provider of the data need to give you a link and need to give you a key that you add. And then through that one, you read live streaming from the data. I hope I have time. I will show you something like, for example, if you want to look at the Premier League scores and read it live from there without downloading anything. We still can do that. Yes, you need to use API to do that. In terms of visual, we will be doing some graphs and chart and things in the next few minutes.
And is there a limitation of the applications that I can connect with Python, or I can connect with, like, can I connect, for example, with Facebook and read the information for my post?
Yes, yes, yeah, you can connect to Facebook, Twitter. There's no limitation because the IT industry now created a bridge and buses that move data between different things. And the APIs and JSON format is the way to get this data. You can get data from anywhere. And Python has packages for everything. If you search for analyzing Facebook using Python, you will find something already exists that you can use and start adding to it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks. Good. So I have with me Saad. Yes, Saad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Deepak, I'll come to you. Sorry, you raised your hand before everyone, but it's my mistake. Go ahead, Saad. Oh, Saad, I removed Saad by mistake. Sorry, Saad, can you please speak again? Raise your hand again. I'm sorry for that. I'm using this different. I wanted to, Deepak, you can speak.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Very good. Very good.
Sir, I would like to know actually for research purpose, like if you want to analyze data, like data, compare the row and variables, how to do that? Are you going to cover this point also? Like how
Yeah,
to like how to
yeah, we'll
like
cover
check
that.
dependent, independent variable? Okay, fine. That's what I want to know. Thank you.
There are lots of things I need to cover on which you are expecting, which right. Saad, sorry, Saad, I'm really sorry. Asif, Saad, by
No
mistake.
problem. No problem, my big brother. I want to ask you, can I join between two files and take something between comparison like that between the two files?
Yeah.
This is my first question. My second question, can I join or connect between Python and Oracle or other database files or not? Like MySQL, Oracle, and SQL Server like that.
Yes.
Thank you more, my brother. Shukran.
Yeah, you can do all this, yeah. And your question is really very good, especially the one connecting multiple files. And this is can be done easily in Python. Okay, I think let me I'll answer Hisham, then we will go ahead and do some work. I don't want to keep you waiting. Hisham, go ahead.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Yes, alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Dear Dr. Ahmed, I just need to know how to enroll in the LearnHub. That's it.
Oh, LearnHub.
I get in there, but they ask me for code. I put that code PYDS
No, you didn't need the
1003.
code. Yeah, you don't need the code. You can use the code, but if you use the link, I'm going to put it in the chat. There is a link. You click on it, it will take you into the LearnHub.
That would be great. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we will. Mahesh, you want to speak? I'll give you a chance to speak, Mahesh. Oh, Mahesh, this is my.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, Mahesh. How are you?
Very good. How are you? Hope you're doing good. I was listening all these days, and it's very wonderful and very useful. PD. So my question is, I'm doing some research using PyTorch. So will you be covering that here or in this session?
Not really, but we can maybe talk about it outside the session. Yeah?
All right.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's go back to what we need to do. Now, your questions are really very good, and let me explore a few more things, and then we will continue. Now we notice how we can we find head, tail, and those things. Now, if I want to find what are the columns, or I just want to know what are the columns of my file. Sometimes the file you open has 100 or huge number of columns. This file is small. It has only 7, 8 maybe columns. But there are some files you will deal with has so many columns and becomes difficult to see these columns. So to know the columns, you need to put the data name here, we call it COVID, and use columns. Yeah, and this what it will do. It will find you the columns and put it in a list for you. You're familiar with this, yeah? This is a list because start by square bracket. So the columns comes all here, and this is useful to do. This line is advisable to do it every time you read the data. Why? because sometimes these columns has extra things in it, which you don't see it when you look at the table like this. Yeah, there is a space or this thing. When you run like this, you will see exactly what it is. Now, let us see, we need only to show the data that shows positive test, okay? What are the positive tests? Only. This is a question that is important to me. Before I do that, let me add something called RES, results, yeah? Call it results, yeah? A result here, what I'll do, I'm going to look at COVID, and I want to look at the results column, yeah? Results column. Where's the results column? Is it results? This is the one, yeah? I could have used this one. Using single quote, double quote, it doesn't make any difference. Yeah. Now, if I do this, this will go into the data and find me those results. But I want the unique data. Unique, yeah? Unique data. Adding the word unique will take the data and find me the unique. What does mean unique? If the word negative repeated 20,000 or 100,000, it will be shown only once. Okay, let me display what is in these results. Yeah, I'm using the result. What I'm getting a new list that include only those results. So the results are negative, positive, and inclusive, yeah, or unknown. These are the four. I don't know what is the unknown. Maybe the result was not really clear, so the sample was not right. But anyway, but using the data and putting square bracket and selecting one of the columns will display for you the data related to that. Now, if you use the word unique, gives you the unique report. Let me not do it with the word unique. Let's do it like this now. Yeah. If I do like this, oh, something went with my kernel. Yeah. Let me do this. Now, if I run all the data, I'm getting, again, the whole data, but I'm getting only one column with the column of the result here. But when I add the word unique to it, I'm getting the unique. Why I'm doing this? I'll show you why I'm doing this. Yeah. Now, let's say I want to find only the records that has positive test. Only, I want to show them. So I can say COVID, this is the way you search in Pandas. This is searching now, yeah? To search for any data in Pandas, you need to do this process. So you put COVID, and then what are you looking for? You're looking for results. This is the column name. So I'm looking at the column results. And I'm looking for results where the value of the result is positive. Yeah, I'll take this one from here, copy it, and put it this way. Now, if you are fast, you will have a problem, but that's okay. So you notice now this is a condition. I'm saying find me the rows that the result is positive. Now, if I do this, I'll get true, false all the time. Yeah, I'm getting all false because the true are in the middle. To get the actual record, I need a bracket here, close, and bracket here. I'm doing it slowly just to get you to understand the format, because you need to get used to this format. It's not similar to others. And here I add COVID again. Now, if I do this, look at what I'm getting. I'm getting only data where the result is positive. So now I know those data that are positive. So I filter my data using those are only positive. Okay. Okay. And here I can store this one in something called positive, new data. Now I have a new data. I extracted from my big data, which is still there, COVID, a new data, I call it positive, and this data selected only record that has result positive. Okay, so that's one thing. You can search data now. We search the data now using only one condition. I can have two conditions. I can say the data is positive, but it's done from this lab, okay, or that lab. Okay, that's something I can do. How I do it? If I want to do additional condition, I put a bracket here, normal bracket, and normal bracket here. These two need to be there. This optional for one, but if I want to do two conditions, they become must. And if you remember what I said last time, and then you can add here and then you do the other condition. Yeah, in case now, for example, let's put this one here and add this and say if the lab is lab, I want the lab in this case. If the lab is what are those labs they have here? We'll take POC, yeah? We'll take POC as the lab. Okay, and that's it, yeah? Now I have this positive, which I created, positive, yeah? These are showing the data of positive only from this lab, POC. Now, the good thing is I can automate. This is not like Excel and other. If after I do all those analysis, I put them in one function, and later just I run that function, I get all the data. And the data can be stored in another file or sent to a server somewhere else to do more things with it, or do whatever to do with it. Now, you notice I had two conditions. One condition was just something, this is one condition, yeah? I don't need these two brackets for one condition. I just like it. Yeah? We will repeat it so you get used to it. But if I have another condition, I need to put this one in between bracket, and then I can add the other condition after that using this and. Now notice this and, which we use in the normal Python, will not work. It will cause a problem. You need to use this and symbol, and it's single and. If you're coming from Java or coming from others, you need to use two ands. Here only one. And then you can use or. This is or. Yeah. These are maybe new for those people who are new to programming, but that's okay. Now this one is having something here. Yeah. What did I add? Found to this one. Let me take this one. Yeah. This C here, this zero, I don't know from where it came. I'm using this Mac external keyboard, confusing. But this is the structure. Let's do another search, yeah? We stored now the positive into this one. Let's create another one. We will call it, POC. Yeah, we're looking at data for this lab. Yeah, let's find data that from this lab. So I can say COVID slash, now you know it, so I'll go a little bit fast, COVID between quotation lab double equal and then POC. This one now will create a new data called POC, and it stored only data of POC, mixed, negative, positive, everything. So this is the way I can create data from a data by filtering and selecting certain data. Now, if I want to get a summary of my data, I want to know this data, the summary of it. So there's something called, take the COVID itself, yeah? COVID dot describe If you use describe, it will give you something. Oh, sorry. Writing it wrong. Describe. Yeah. Now you get a description of the data. Oh, that's a high level description. Yeah. It tells you how many records in the data. It tells you what is the mean of that data. If you look at that, for everyone, numerical numbers, looking at the numerical numbers only. And then the standard deviation, the minimum, 25%, 50%, and the maximum. This gives you a snapshot of your data. Just by saying COVID, describe, it will go and describe that data for you. So now we learn a few more things. We learn how we filter data by using search, which we use this technique, and I will repeat it again. So you take your data, for example, we created POC data, yeah? The POC now, I wanted to look at the country, if IB is 20, yeah? Now I'll do search on the search. So I created the POC. So I'll come to the POC. I say again, POC again, POC, square bracket, and then I put the column name I'm looking for, and then equal 20. This now will filter it and get me only POC from country 2020. Yeah, and this I can store it another variable for me to use it later for different things. Now, how I can group data? How I can group it together so I can later create a graph of it. Yeah, let's look at this. We'll say by result. Yeah, a new variable by result. Now, Pandas has a command called or function called group by, and then you decide now you want to group it by what. I want to group it by results. Yeah, and I want to get the count. This is very useful one. Yeah, you just look at this one, we run it and see by result. I run by result. See what I'm getting? I'm getting a summary of all the COVID one that tells me these are the negative cases. There are 245,310 negative, which good, mean the number of tests they do, there are lots of negative there. But the positive cases in every 240 is around 3,040. At that time, they have done the test. And these are the unknown result, and this the inclusive result, which I don't know. So because I used group by, it did group it for me like that. Now, if I want to group it also by the lab, not only by the result, I want to see by lab how many are in that lab. If I do it like this, I'll get an error. I need, because I added two things, I want to put them as a list. So I put a bracket here and I put a bracket here. Now they are a list. Now when I group it, it will accept it, then it will show me. Now this will be a little bit bigger, but it's very useful. Telling me the negative cases, ASPLH, whatever it is, having this number of negative cases, and the commercial lab having this number of cases, and the POC having this number of cases to do. And if I want to look at the positive, most of the positive coming from this lab. See, this lab is very good in diagnosing or finding the issues, or maybe that area where the lab is in having more COVID. That's another thing. We can look now at the country that lab is existing in, and then we can look at what's happening here. So group by is one useful thing. Now, let us just start looking at plotting or doing some diagram of this data. I can do this, but it will not be meaningful. I have to fix the data a little bit, but I'll show you just now. If I say by result, okay, and say dot plot, and do this just like this. So it will go and create a plot for me of the data. And you can see, because it's adding all those things, it's a little bit confusing. I don't want all these things. I need to use, because I'm using the count, so it's adding the count of everyone. So maybe I should focus only on one of those, مثلا the FID instead of that. So we'll do it in a minute. But you see, this is the way you just use plot. You can also manage this, make it bigger, make it smaller. If you want it to be a bar chart, you look at kind equal bar, and this will start making it like a bar chart. You want to get it a pie chart, you see, you get directly like that. So if you want to learn about more plotting, look for pandas plotting. Yeah, you will find so many things, visualization or chart visualization. And this is another course that we will do later. It's a huge subject, but we'll get it. And you can do all those type of chart. It has its own badges or certificates from IBM. So you can do all this. You can do bar chart for sure, different bar chart, and there's different stacked bar chart. You can do a histogram. You put it in different distribution and how it looks like, and you can do more type of histograms. You can look at the box, looking for the outliers, the data that are really not following the common data. So you can plot it in this way, and then you can start finding it. You need to get to know a little bit about statistics and understanding those concepts. So these are all kind of chart you can do, which you can, and you can see just one line of code. The chart comes on the screen. You don't need to. There's area as well. You can create area with chart, and you can see they call it DF plot area, and then become an area, and it's useful. In some cases, if you want to look at the scattered one, each one of those charts has a purpose, and they are the best for certain situations that you're looking at. So you need to start knowing those things if you want to get into data science in more depth. And you can see very sophisticated type of the pie chart that everybody, I think, almost knows that one. It's very common. And here again, plotting with missing data, some techniques we can use. Now, we're giving you just a start to get into this, but you need to explore things more yourself. I'll tell you now how you can find more resources. You can learn all this. Now, if you go here in the chart, you'll find all these charts here. I'm telling you how the code to do it. You'll be changing your data. I'm using copy, be using PS. Yeah, and that's it. What you need to do. So you find it's there. You just find which chart is the best for your situation, and then you start using it. But start to learn why those charts are useful. Which chart is good for what situation? That's what we need to look at from the visualization side. But we'll be running another course in the near future about visualization of data and all those type of chart how you do them. But the resources are there, and it's becoming very simple. Now, the things we didn't do is the index. Now, we're working with this one, but we didn't play with the index. When you create a group, by default, it creates index, and the index will be based on the group you selected. I selected result, I selected lab. You can see result and lab, they are not at the same level as the remaining because they are indexes. So if I want to reset the index, leave the chart aside, we'll come to more charting later. So by result, okay, I say reset underscore index. Yeah, if I do this, the index will disappear. They become all the same. Sometimes this is useful, and it will be useful in our case now because we want to plot maybe using only one column. Yeah, but if I see now COVID by result again, see, I did remove the index. This is how I removed it. Yeah, remove reset underscore index. That will remove the index. Yeah, and put back the index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which sometimes I need to do that because I want to do something. But what if I say now by result again? Yeah, I will find the index is still there. Yeah, the index is still there. I removed it, but it's still there. Yeah, because when I removed it, I didn't tell Pandas update the original file. I have two options to do it. One, either I store this new data in a new one. I call it, for example, H, and then now H will be the one without index, and the original one will be the index. That's one. But the other way I can force removing index, I add something here called in place equal true. If you do this, the index will be created, and now anytime you run by result, you will find the index is gone. Because this in place means change the original data set. The original data set, which here by result, now will be changed forever because I added this one. So this, remember, if you want to force it to do. Okay. Now assume I want to plot only. If I say I want to show only results and FID. Yeah. So by results, I want to display only these two things. Yeah. One is results, and the other one, comma, is FID. You noticed by result, I think without S. Yeah, without S. Okay, now this is a small thing that I can do some graph on it. It looks better. Yeah. But notice when I wanted to show data of multiple columns, yeah, I have to put them as a list. If I remove these two columns, this two brackets, this one, and put it like this, I'll get an error. It will not work because it requires a list. And the list means you have a bracket here, and these two as a list. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is the result. If I say now plot here, what will happen? I'll get a little bit more cleaner data. Yeah. You can see it's a more cleaner data. I have to do. But the problem with this data is coming using the index, and the index is 0, 2, 4. It's not really the index I want to have. which should be the list. Now, how I can apply a new index to this data? Yeah, so let's do this and say result 2, I'll call it now. Let me store it like this. I'll take this one, data, and I'll set underscore index, and I'll give it a new index called results. Yeah, results. Now, if I do R2, look at R2. Sorry, this is not R2. R2. This is how it look like. Yeah, which has indexed the result. Now, if I say plot, now what I'm getting, you will like it. It's better than before. Yeah, so it's coming more better. I can make it kind equal bar, and it becomes something like this. So it makes a little bit more sense for looking at it to do. So what we learn now, we can remove index by using reset index. We can apply in place. We can apply a new index by using dot set index. Yeah, dot set index we can apply. Now our original COVID is still there. We did not change our original COVID. If you look at it, this is our original COVID. Yeah. Let's now change our original COVID and give it a new index, set underscore index, and we will use the column lab. How this will look like. Now you see it's grouped, or put them together or sorted them, put it all the labs that from this lab at the front, and made the lab is the index. So you can apply index to all. You can apply more than one index if you want by using a list of columns. List of columns will allow you to apply so many index. Yeah, results. And you can see now it took this lab, added all the negative results together, and then later it will have the same lab with all the negative. I think if we ask it to display head of 20, let's say, maybe we can the negative of some. See the head. Okay. So what we learn again, we learn many things today. One is, let me start and give you a revision quickly, and then we'll come back to it. So we learn how we can import pandas using, this is important, import pandas as PD. Then you can read one. I had a very nice question. If I have two files, I want to read the two files. I can add the other file here, and then later I can use join with so many different parameters. Join based on a certain column. So you have a file has those COVID tests, and you have another file has the country list with some more details, and you want to merge them together based on the country. So you can merge them or join them on the country. Now, I want you to learn to find the ways yourself and learn yourself. This is why I'm showing you this one. So search for pandas, join multiple data frames. Okay, this is something I should have explained. You will find there are many ways, okay? And people here asking questions, they will get answers. But you will find also here, this one is useful. So if you go to this one, we'll give you example. Say you have, this is one data you created, DF1, and you read this data. There is a DF2 here, which another data, okay? And you have DF3, another data. Now we want to join them, how you do that? There are different ways to do it. This is one way you do it. You add each one as a list inside, create a frame, and then you do concatenation. You get something like this. There are other ways you can do, and you put them together by using concatenate and then the frame, and then use some keys. Keys are the columns here, using your X, Y, Z. And then there are other ways to join them together, which you want. It depends on what are the columns you want to join on, and what your condition. You want to use country and everything in that has country, and then the others, or you wanted the other way around, left or right. You join left, join right, and there is also merge, which you put them together. So these are all the different types, and there are examples. You try them yourself one by one. It's very simple. You start from the beginning, put those in one data frame and continue do it. So you'll find all those different ways of merging data. And it's all of it, you can see it's just one line or two lines. It'll get you the result, but you need to just understand how this one works, yeah? And all those things. It's interesting. I want you just to get excited, and you get more excited when you get the confidence by practicing. You just practice, you find it's getting there. This is, as I said, a course that can run for 3 months in a university, but we're just giving you a quick start to get you familiar. When you see these things again later, you will find they are related, and you can understand those things. So this is how you can get data from different sources. Now I heard someone asking, I want to get live data from MySQL. Okay, Pandas has a way to read from MySQL as well. You can search Pandas and MySQL or read data. You see, Google became very advanced now because it understands human language somehow. Yeah. So now you look at this, you will find, yes, you can read MySQL and live data or Oracle or whatever it is. JSON, as I said, is important thing you need to know nowadays, because JSON is become Pandas, and how you can parse and do it with JSON. So there's so many things you can start learning. Okay, with the things I didn't explain well, let me go back and explain it. Now I figured out that I didn't explain it. Okay. Now let's start here. This one, we call it data frame. Yeah, we call it data frame. And you need to know Pandas, when it reads any data, put it in this table. This is how it works. Now, there are other packages you can use different format, but for Pandas, the data frame is important. So the data frame has columns, as you can see, has rows, like an Excel file, has an index. If there's no index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be used as the index. And you can set the index. To get the first 5 from a data frame, use head, tail, you get you the lower one. But there are other things you need to look at it, yeah? Let's go to the end. Now, if I say copied, yeah, dot head, this will give me what? The first 5. Now, if I want from first, number 10 to number 20, yeah? This will not work with me if I do. Yeah, remember when we were using it in the dictionary? Yeah, there is something called iLook. Yeah, iLook. And again, if you do dot do here, you will find all those commands. The iLook allow you to slice data. You want to take from this row to that row. You can do that. You can have this. So this iLook will allow you to take data from any level to any level that you would like to take data. For example, I want to take data from row 50 to row 60 only. This will give me only from row 50 to row 60 using iLook, and then I decide what I want to skip 2. This will skip 2. We did it before, remember, when we were looking at dictionary. The dictionaries, I want to skip 5 of them. I can skip 5 of them, so I'm taking 10, I'm skipping 5, I'll get remaining only 2. So the iLook is one way you can slice your data using certain, there is iLook and there is look as well. The iLook will use the index you have here, and the look will use the current data to do. So the iLook is one thing that I didn't explain, and you know it because you have done it before. The only thing you need to use the command iLook, and you specify from where to where you want to do things. Okay, I was talking about what we did. So we did find the length is important. We looked at the head and tail. We looked at, you can change the head to make it 10 if you want. We looked at how to find the columns. And this is useful to find the columns of your data. What are the columns? And you can do that one. And this is useful when the data has so many columns in your case. Unique is very nice in terms of finding the unique data. You look when we did result, COVID, result unique, we found only 5 data, because these are the unique data for the result. Either it's negative or positive or inclusive or unknown. And if you want to search for the unknown, now we're searching for the positive. If you want to search for the unknown, we just come here and say unknown. Yeah. Yeah. What's wrong with me? Okay, because I was thinking to show you to use a loop there. And I want to show you now to use the loop. We can use the loop here if you want. Okay, but we don't need, but the loop we can use it as well, because this is a list. The result is a list. If I come here, it's always when you think of something and you do something, you will not do what you do right. Yeah. Even football players, when they think, oh, I should shoot it in that angle, or should I live, you will lose the ball. Someone else will come and take it. Yeah. Just want to show you how the for loop will work on that one, because this unique is just a list. So I can say for R and a result column, and say print R, then this will get me the result in this way. So it's actually a result. I can use it to create a new data by going through the whole data and counting how many of this. I do so, there are many things you can do. We have seen the unique, yeah. But the one thing you need to remember, these columns has no bracket at the end, but uniques has a bracket. What the difference? Columns is an attribute like name, age. It doesn't have a bracket because it's not a function. But unique is a function. Yeah, and that's the difference between the two. If it helps in anything. Okay, so we did that. What else we looked at? We looked at search. How we can search in this big data and create a new data set that depends on certain condition. And we use this one. Said if you want to search, you take your data set and then create a bracket here, and bracket here, and inside you put your condition. This is the condition. It's not like the if statement. This is different. If statement, if I want to use if statement, I'll have 3, 4, 5 lines to do it. This is just only one line. to do. And it'll get me the results and store it in new variable for me. If I'm go to the basic of programming and use those control if statement and for loop and while loop, I will write a very complicated line to do it. But this is only one line. So one line, how it works, there's a condition. The condition say, look at the column lab and find those equal to POC. And this is the condition. And then get me all the record that meet that. So COVID, and that's it. So this one will give us the result. Now you need to get used to it. Maybe it looks not logical, but it's logical. You look at it this way. This is the condition. COVID lab, the columns that has P lab and include the value POC. So columns with lab, and then in that column, search for only those has POC. Okay, so this is the condition. Yeah, and condition, you put it inside your data, it will go and find you the data. So this one will do that, you do this, and then you get the data. Where did it go? Yeah, and then you get your data. Now, if you have two conditions, you need to add a bracket here, as I said, a small bracket, normal bracket, not the square bracket. This is the one, yeah? Small bracket. You put it here, you put it there. This one is become required, and then you put and you repeat the same thing, but with different column, with different search data. So you take this one from here and add it here. And maybe here now, I want those with the results. So I'm looking at the column results and looking for positive. And then this will get me those coming from the lab POC that are positive. Run it, it's there. Now what is the result? I do this, that's it. Now I want to know how many of them in that lab. I can use len instead of displaying all. What is my len? Let's see, not again. Len. This will give me now the results. There are 915 of positive cases coming from the POC lab. Now, if I'm going to the other lab, I can just change this one. I want to know how many unknown cases, which may be an indication of there's something wrong with this lab, because the result are always, they have lots of unknown. There are 300 unknown from this lab. I can compare this one with the other lab. Okay, I put it in a graph and say, okay, unknown cases coming from that lab. So that's something we can look at. So we looked at that one. We looked at describe. Describe is just a simple thing. Usually people, after they read their data, they run this command, describe. They run head, tail, then describe data. Describe will look at the data and give you a summary for the numerical columns. It doesn't look at the other text-based columns. By the way, in Python, you can use something called natural language processing, NLP, which you can analyze text data. That's another thing you need to look at it. If you want, you say Python. This is another big library, natural language kit. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, this is a very strong one for those people who analyze lots of text, because this one can look at more things like the semantic of the text, and you can plot it, or the relationship between all those different components. It can look at the stop words and the words that repeated multiple times. This is another library. You need to import it into pandas, and then you use it to do it. Now, other things you can look at is computer vision. can be open computer vision. Yeah. Computer vision, which nowadays is needed, and it's artificial intelligence. Computer vision in Python. Yeah, let's use in Python. This will get you excited. I have a video there, you can look at it. I think it's in YouTube. And basically, look at the library first and then come. Computer vision allow you to analyze pictures and videos, live picture and videos. So if you add this one to your code, and then you should be able to get a feed from a camera and then detect certain things on that feed and highlight it and make an alert and things like that. And you can look at that as well. So the Open PC is widely used in security and motion detections and many things. And it is you can do that in Python. And there's lots of tutorials here. If you look at this site, has so many tutorials about computer vision as well. And that's something we need maybe to look at. Now, what else we are here? Let me finish So we did description, and description give me a summary of the data set and get you all the things. Now, some of the data source will give you direct access. You don't need to download the file and upload it. So you just put the URL here, and instead of read CSV, you put here the URL, and you will directly read the data lines from there. You can use also HTML. By the way, I have a course, if you want to look at it, I did it some time ago. What did you call it? I can't remember now. Where is it? I will find it now. Give me a second. You can go there and get more of this if you want. Switch to ICT. Share screen now. I'll put the link on the chat. You can all look at it. You can go there and look at it. So this course we created, me and one of my friends some time ago, and it for my previous university, and it is it's for all students. So the idea behind it was everyone nowadays needs to know coding and needs to do program data, understand some data analytics. So we created this course. We take students through the fundamentals of programming. Ali Farhat will be talking here, and they're explaining some of the things. And then also we're doing some things on data analytics. So this course will be useful if you want to look at it. It includes more examples of sorting and visualization. And when we did it that time, I think was maybe 4 years ago, Pandas did not have its own visualization. It used another library called MATLAB, which we used, but now it has the same thing. It's no huge difference between the two, and you can look at that if you want to do. Also, this video may be useful if you want to. I will show you something. This one show you again if you want to read not only text and files, and then you need to read an image. So you took a picture somewhere, okay, and then you don't know where you took that picture. With Python, it will tell you where you took it. Yeah, you put this, if you run this code I'm creating here, then you look at it, it will give you the location, the GPS location of your pictures, and then you can find out where you took that picture. So it's very interesting. And it's very simple code, you can see, it's not really complicated. Line of code. So that's another resource you need to do. There are so many things on the net that you can benefit from. You just start asking the right questions. Okay, someone was asking about, can I merge two data sets? Ask that question, you will get the answer. Can I connect to a live database? You will find the tutorial, you will not find everything in place. Asking the right questions is what will get you there. People do not get where they want because they don't actually know where they want. Yeah, because they didn't ask that question. Yeah. If you ask the right questions, you will find things coming around and helping you, and you will find the solution. So please do that. I can see some hands on. Let me go to the hands that are on, and then we will conclude. I think we're almost done. Now, sometime when I come to this hands on, I'm not sure if you are really genuinely raising hand or not. I will lower the hand of everyone. You want, then you raise your hand. And tomorrow we'll be talking about NumPy, which is numerical analysis. So we'll look at the numbers in a more detailed way, and we'll be doing some analysis of some images and data and look at it. That's the last module you need to do. But I think you should be ready now to go to answer the 5 questions on this module, and practice before answering the questions, and get ready to for tomorrow. I see no hands up, so thank you, and I wish you all the best and enjoy your night.